Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Kraven the Hunter. And this movie came out in 2024, and it is a Sony superhero movie that's supposed to take place in their Sinister Six universe or whatever. And this is a Spider Man villain, but instead of making him a villain, they turned him into a hero because he has no, I guess, Spider Man to fight, so they just give him other Spider Man villains to fight or whatnot. And here we are. We got Kraven the Hunter as a hero, I guess, and he's going up against a couple Spider-Man villains. The most notable one, and the most iconic one, I guess, is the Rhino. You get to see Rhino in this movie, and I like the design of a Rhino in this movie. I wasn't upset with it at all. The movie wasn't really boring to me, mostly because I was just laughing at the movie, not with it. I also liked the violence in the movie, and I didn't realize it at first, and I only realized this like minutes before I started recording this video, and that is, this movie is rated R. And all of the previous Sony Spider-Man Sinister Six movies or whatever have been all PG-13, if I'm not mistaken. Like, all the Venom movies are PG-13. Morbius, I'm pretty sure that was PG-13, and Madam Web is PG-13, and they decided to just give this movie an R rating, and it's pretty bloody. They say the F word a few times, and if you wanted an R-rated Kraven the Hunter movie, I guess you got it. And I'll say this much, it definitely made the movie a bit more entertaining for me, and in terms of how much I enjoyed this movie, as far as the three Sony movies that came out in 2024 that are in this universe timeline, there was obviously, like that I just showed you, Madam Web, there was Venom the Last Dance, and this. I liked this unironically more than Madam Web, but I was more entertained than Venom the Last Dance. So it's kind of like in the middle for me. Whereas, like, I can come back to this and laugh at it and enjoy it, but it's not nearly as funny as Madam Web for me. So, funny movie overall. I had a lot of fun while watching the movie, but once you start to break the movie down, you start to realize nothing makes any sense and it's just all over the place. The movie is pretty cheesy in all of the worst ways. And by worst ways, I mean in ways that make it more entertaining for me. And those parts were some of my favorite parts of the movie, and I loved the interactions between Kraven and the one lawyer character. Those were pretty funny, and they talk like they've never spoken to human beings before, and it's just so funny to watch. And just about every performance in this movie is pretty bad. Like, I didn't really believe many of the performances in this movie. Aaron Taylor Johnson, not a bad actor, and just like most of these Sony movies, they get good actors, but they give them nothing to do, and they don't really have much to work with. And that's pretty much the case here. Aaron Taylor Johnson, he was kind of laughable as Kraven the Hunter. Like, I do think he looks the part, but that's about it. I didn't really believe him when it came to his line delivery. Sometimes he was overacting, and other parts, he just didn't feel like he wanted to be there, and it was just kind of awkward and dumb to watch. And Russell Crowe was pretty funny. There's plenty of themes of toxic masculinity in this movie. Those were pretty funny. The most entertaining parts of this movie are the action scenes, and they're not terribly shot at the very least, like in the sense that you can make out what's going on in these shots just by looking at the shots individually, and together you can still make out what's going on. But sadly, there's nothing really impressive going on in these action scenes other than some violence, which I'm not used to in a superhero movie. And there were parts where there were just too many cuts in the action scenes, and luckily this is not a problem consistently throughout the entire film, but it was kind of noticeable early on in the movie. And I also didn't really care about any of the characters. There was not one likable character in this movie, but the movie did feel as though it was moving by pretty quickly. I wasn't really bored by anything, like I've said already. What helped it is that I felt as though each scene had something to laugh at and to kind of enjoy, and like there was something goofy going on in each scene. And the very weak performances definitely added to the, lack of a better way of saying it, comedic beats, should we say. There were also a couple of comedic moments in this movie. I did not care for those, and whenever these movies try to do a comedy, it always falls flat on its face, and it just makes me cringe. And luckily it was only a couple parts, but still, I can do without those things. That was like the worst stuff in Venom: The Last Dance. And of course, I can't talk about this movie without mentioning the infamous rhino sound that he makes in the middle of the movie. It was pretty hysterical, and if you haven't heard it, it's like a 20-second clip on YouTube. You can just watch that. It's pretty funny. One thing that kind of let me down in this movie were the special effects in the movie. Like, with the exception of Rhino and I guess the blood to some extent, most of the visual effects just didn't look convincing. The animals looked like they were not a part of the environment at all. They looked like ghosts almost. And it was just really distracting in this movie. There were points where the movie was trying to make Kraven look kind of cool with all of his climbing abilities or superhuman abilities, and it kind of just felt like the movie was trying to show off something that Tom Cruise would do in a Mission Impossible movie, but they were trying to level it up, I guess, by showing off like, oh, what if we did this but made it even cooler? This guy's superhuman, right? So it's even cooler that he's able to do all that. There were plenty of stock sound effects that were kind of distracting that I can do without, and the music in the movie just added nothing to the film overall. Like, if it wasn't there, the movie would be no different. And the rest of my criticisms are just kind of like nitpicky things, like a lion that's supposedly killed like thousands of people, like 2,000, 3,000 people. Like, okay, I'm pretty sure that lion would have been killed by now. Like, killing thousands of people, I'm pretty sure someone would do something about that. That didn't make any sense. And there was also a shot that looked exactly like it was from Gladiator. Not even kidding. And also what I found to be kind of distracting about this movie, and I'm not sure if everyone watching this movie is going to feel this way, but it really kind of did feel as though this was Sony trying to make a Batman movie out of Kraven the Hunter. That's kind of what I took away from this movie to some extent. Like, they really wanted Kraven the Hunter to be Batman. And that's about all I have to say about Kraven the Hunter. It was pretty bad, pretty funny. I'll rewatch it. It was pretty stupid. There's plenty about it that I didn't mention, like the foreigner character. I didn't really care for that character at all. He was kind of stupid. And also didn't really need to be there, but there's still plenty of things I could talk about. But that would be in a spoiler-filled discussion, and also I don't really have too much to say about those things. So depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a funny bad movie, I would recommend it. I had fun watching this movie. But if you're looking for a good movie, skip this movie, because it is not worth your time. So with all that being said, I'm going to give Kraven the Hunter a 2 out of 10. I'm also curious how this movie is going to do on Netflix, because that's where I watched it, and I know that Madam Web did not do well in theaters, but it did pretty well on Netflix. And so I'm not sure how this movie is going to do on Netflix. Maybe this won't be the end of the Sony's Sinister Six movies because of Netflix. Maybe it'll save it, maybe not. Who knows? That's just a thought that's going on in my head that I thought I should share with you. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Kraven the Hunter, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Eyes of Laura Mars. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.